automation is increasing at such a rapid speed, it's almost scary. With Amazon's 1 hour delivery, same day delivery, with Little Caesars is testing home delivery cars that will bring your pizza home to your home without a driver.
Welcome to the My Future Business Show, where we get you in front of your best audience and keep you there. Not only are we interviewing the biggest names in business to help you become even more successful, we're inviting you to book your spot on the show to help you grow your business. So at the end of the call, make sure you fill in the interview application form at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews. Hi and welcome to the My Future Business Show. My name's Rick Nusky. I'm your host, and we're going to click into gear today with author David B. Now, David has a brand new book that's coming out that we're going to talk about throughout the call. So welcome to the show, David.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
It's a pleasure spending some time with you. Now, look, oftentimes we can just spurt out the name of a book that's coming out, but this one's a little bit controversial, the name of your book. What's it actually called?
So the name of the book is FURetail, Guide to Getting Free for Those Who Accidentally Got Stuck.
It's an amazing title. So who's this book specifically for, David?
Who it's for is people in the retail industry. And right now, the retail industry is dramatically changing incredibly fast.
Right.
And it's due to a lot of things. And a lot of the frontline workers, the management, the employees, they are getting caught in this crossfire where budgets are getting cut, the employees are getting treated worse and worse, and it's a guide to kind of help those stuck in that industry find something different.
David, I'd love to just, we'll come back to the book in a minute. I'd love to share with our audience a little bit about yourself. What do you like to do when you're away from the workplace?
I do a lot of different things. So I'm really active in adventure races, kind of those mud runs.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's been a passion of mine for years. And actually, one thing I'm really excited about, which I'm glad you asked, I'm actually on the 10th day of a water fast right now, something I've done just for health purposes. And I've never gone that long before. So I've gone 10 days with nothing but water.
A water diet. Wow. I'm actually looking at your table of contents for FURetail. I was wondering if we could step through a few of these chapters.
Absolutely.
You've got, it looks like 11 chapters in the book, and is just to come back to that, when is this being released? Is this out now, and can people get it? Or
it's not out quite yet. It is available for pre-purchase. If you're on my website, you can actually right now, for a very limited time before the book is actually out, you can sign up to get a free downloadable version of the book. Likely the physical copy will be out in February, but the free downloadable version will be out quite a bit before that.
Fantastic. Now, is this the main thrust of your business, or is there something else that you do in your work sphere?
I do a number of different things. So I'm actually the CEO of a small corporation, which I founded after I got out of the retail sphere. And yeah, so my story is I was in retail for a very long time. And it was just, even though I was a top performer in the various companies that I would be in, I was never treated with respect. And I was always passed over for different opportunities, that they would pull in different outside people to fill those positions. And it got to a point where I just got so tired of it. And I knew that these companies were not operating in the best way that they could, specifically in regards to the employees. So I founded my own corporation with a very employee-centered mindset to give my employees the best environment possible.
What's your thoughts on the way that the online retail space is making itself known? How is that affecting, the traditional workplace?
So I'm not against it, because it's just the nature of change and the nature of how our world is shifting. But it's definitely, and you can see it impacting the world. There's been, hundreds of big retail companies that have gone bankrupt over the last year or two. More retail employees last year lost their jobs than in the 2008 financial crisis here in the U.S.
If we come back now, and David, and talk about your book, there are some key elements that you've stepped out in what looks to be 11 chapters. Is that how many there are altogether?
Yeah, a total of 11 chapters, but primarily 8 basic steps to go from being a retail employee to doing something that you're more passionate about.
And now, just to give people a bit of an overview without going step by step through each and every chapter, David, what is one of the key takeaways, and how did you approach the construction of this book?
How I approached the construction of the book was trying to make it as straightforward and easy to follow as possible.
Mm.
'Cause I went through personally a whole lot of trial and error, and I had personally tried for years. I knew I was sick of working for X company, and I would get so fed up, I would quit, and I just ended up at another retail company because that's where my skill set lied.
Yeah.
And I did realize that a lot of the skills that I actually already had could transfer into other companies or even creating my own business, which is what I ultimately did.
To say step by step, follow these chapters, and you'll perform better. Is that the intended outcome?
Yeah, exactly. So you follow the chapters, you can start from being a retail employee, and chapter 9 covers how to say F you and F off to your place of employment.
Lovely, lovely. What do you provide in your book about downturn, and what can people take away from your book when things are not going so great in retail for them?
As far as when things are going difficult,
Yes, because there seems to be a lot of, from recent news feeds that I've been listening to, a lot of 100-year-old businesses that are recording a sharp downturn in walk-in sales because of the popularity of online retail sales. Does your book give guidance on what people can do to navigate that sort of downturn?
so the problem that I personally faced when there was a downturn,
Mm-hmm.
whether it was economy, whether it was, again, just that customer shifting habit, especially being in management positions in the retail sphere, the fault always was put on the employees working in the store.
Mm.
It's never, we could say, hey, there are no customers coming in. We could say your advertising isn't working or your this isn't working. And they would say, you know what? Then you need to maximize the customers that are in. Why aren't you selling them more? Why aren't you, why aren't you out on the lease line getting more customers in the store? Why aren't you going out to different businesses in your area and
Mm-hmm.
trying to bring customers in? And that's a really unfair position when it is just simply, an economy standpoint or as simply a things are changing standpoint.
Mm.
And the point is that hasn't changed for a lot of companies. So the goal is to just get into a different company that you feel will treat you better, that does have more upward movement and more mobility, or it gives people steps on how to just create their own company while they're still working, and what I do cover is how to become a strong asset
Yeah.
in your place of employment, regardless of what is going on, while developing all your other skills on the outside.
I'm looking at some of the chapter titles, and one that caught my eye is Why Retail is Failing and How It's Literally Killing You. Can you tell us a little bit about that chapter?
Absolutely. And so we covered it a little bit, but the biggest thing is automation is increasing at such a rapid speed. It's almost scary. With Amazon's 1 hour delivery, same day delivery, with Little Caesars is testing home delivery cars that will bring your pizza home to your home without a driver. The shipping industry is changing. They probably 6 months ago, maybe a little more, they launched the first driverless semi.
Mm-hmm.
Customer service is changing with artificial intelligence.
Yep.
Artificial intelligence can now hold actual conversations. And that's what's replacing customer service agents is AI that can just handle an infinite level of customers at any given time, and you don't actually know you're talking to a machine.
This is the future. I mean, it's great that we can have this automation, but it's literally crushing a traditional retail industry sector, isn't it?
It absolutely is, and I'm not against that change.
Mm-hmm.
I just want people to understand that it's happening, and it's happening now. This isn't like 10 years in the future. These things are literally happening right now. And as far as how it's literally killing employees, it's literally killing them because the stress that gets built up, because especially the management can only work X amount of hours. They get punished if they work more than 40 hours a week, but they have to. When I was there, I was working 50 to 60 hours a week, and I would have to hide the hours working in order to get everything done that needed to be done.
Mm-hmm.
So the stress levels, not being able, it hurts families because every holiday, every weekend, it wasn't until a few years ago, my first Thanksgiving and my first 4th of July, I was like, what do I do?
Yeah.
I haven't had this day off in 10 years. What, people actually go out and barbecue,
And they have a
like,
life? Wow, imagine that.
yeah. And it's the things that not people who haven't worked in the industry don't realize how stressful it is and how much work and dedication and passion you put into it, only to just get treated terribly.
And I can see how this book, this story is resonating with so many people who work in the retail sector. And I can see what this book is doing. It's positioning you to understand how to decide on which way you're going to go if things are not so great where you are. Is part of this improving how you do CVs and resumes and how you get yourself out there for new employers?
Absolutely. And so a lot of people, we never really learned how to make a good CV or resume. And it's different now than it was 15 years ago, 10 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
because now a lot of people they don't have their picture on their resume, which is a huge thing that'll make you stand out. We still go to Microsoft Word and we print out that template and fill things in. But there's a lot of really unique things that can be done to make beautiful resumes so that if you want to go get a job in a different corporation or a different larger company, you can absolutely do that. And this gives people the kind of the way to stand out and give them a step ahead of all their competition.
Yeah, that's great feedback. Just get that image on there. I wonder, David, in your CV or resume, whatever you want to call it, should the focus of what you say in it be about you or about what you can do for the business that you're trying to work for?
I mean, it can be both. So you can customize it to that company, but again, when you spend your whole life in a retail sphere, you don't know exactly how you can. Many people don't know how they can help a different company. But I show them how to customize their skill set, and in the book, it's just kind of a general overview. I have actually a free consultation call that I can offer people to customize it a little bit more individually.
Fantastic. Yeah.
But yeah, and just to show those different skill sets, whether it's inventory management or HR or scheduling, retail managers and people in retail do so many things, and they have a huge customer service advantage, which is what's so lacking in the world today.
Yeah, it seems to me that a lot of people, employers, would like to think that people coming in off the street can be the jack of all trades when they probably can't.
Exactly. But when you spent your time in this industry, tend to be you tend to be that jack of all trades.
Is that the general expectations from most people that you've worked with, or do you think from this bulletproofing your resume perspective, should you nail it down to just maybe two or three core things that you offer?
No, I think it should be a good overview of your skills, your successes, your different abilities, and just kind of compiling that into a beautiful picture to really showcase how you can stand out from your competition.
This is going to be a wonderful resource for anybody who's out there and they're struggling in the retail sector. Now, David, where can people go to find you, your company, and how can they access FURetail?
You can find me on all social media. So it's actually Facebook/DavidB CEO. But the best way is to go to FURetail.com, which is capital F, capital U, retail.com. And you can find all of my information there. You can actually, for a little bit longer, you can get a free downloadable version of that book. And I actually just added a way to schedule that. It's actually a 15-minute just kind of conversation with me.
Thank you so much for sharing. For everybody who's listening, I will make sure that all of these links are around the place, no matter where you see this interview. You will find the URLs back to all of the things relating to David and his book, FURetail. David, it's been a wonderful treat having you on the My Future Business Show with me today.
I've enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
It's been fun having you on the call with us today, so make sure to subscribe, leave us a comment, share us with your friends, and book your spot on the show. And if you're looking to create your own professional audio or video presentations, then for more details, visit myfuturebusiness.com/shop.